Hi and good morning. Thank you for joining me, Jeani, at the ACC Community Room for today's 1 p.m. Gentle Yoga. Just a reminder, at the ACC on Thursday evening, we'll be having a father and son duo from Davis performing live classical guitar. So I hope that you can join us for that concert, and we'll see you there. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. And for today's class, we are going through a preset 5 minutes of warm-up for our joints. We'll be doing some standing exercises, a very brief modified sun salutation, and then halfway through the class, we'll be making our way down towards the floor for a little cooling off and a final relaxation at the end of class. And when we wake up, you'll hear the 3 bells to help awaken you, and we'll end our class by a breathing exercise, a pranayama exercise to help balance us and re-energize after that nice relaxation stage. So I hope you're ready for some yoga. We still have maybe a couple of minutes here, and I just wanted to let you know, if this is your first time with yoga, take things very slowly as best that you can. Kind of explore, and as you find that range of mobility is available to you, then of course you can move in with a little more determination. If this is a class you've taken before and you feel good to go, just honor the body and see how you're feeling before you move too quickly. Let's see. We're also focused on some standing exercises that might help to have blocks with you. When we fold over, and if there's a little bit of space between you and the floor, or meeting your hips to the heels as we're kneeling, things like that, a nice block or a rolled up blanket or even a rather large bolster or cushion will help. But those are things that you can incorporate in your practice as we move along, and I'll try to cue those prop tools for you. Anyhow, let's begin. We are going to come up to the back of the mat. Set aside my blanket, and if you have a little bit of water near you too, we may need a break for some water as well. So just keeping those things handy, having the blocks nearer to the top, and we'll incorporate them as we go along. So starting at the back of the mat, your feet being about hips distance apart, just arrive, and I'll turn on some music to help. But as we're arriving, just don't need to focus too hard on the breath or how the body is feeling, but just initially start thinking about the fact that you're breathing. And then as you notice how the mat may feel under the feet, start to become aware of many more details. Without changing the quality of your breath, just breathe through the nose, in and out. And as we return to our resting pose here in mountain, you may find your mountain pose growing a little taller, a little stronger with each iteration. So if your legs are nice and long and straight, that's great. But if the legs are feeling a little tight, you can always bend the knees and keep a slight micro bend as we move along. So now let's bring a little more intention to the breath. We can bring our left palm to rest on our chest, our right palm underneath the belly button. And just notice how the next few breaths moves through the body. Breathing in through the nose. You may feel your chest lift, collarbones lift. A brief pause before you begin the exhale slowly with control. And at the bottom of the exhale, just gently engage the belly, bringing the navel towards the spine. You can even press that belly hand in just slightly to help remind you. And then as you begin your next breath cycle, you'll notice perhaps it's a little longer or more thoughtful. than when we started. We'll finish cultivating our more relaxed Ujjayi breath by bringing the sound, the ocean, maybe something akin to a sigh, the back of the throat. And we can go ahead, release our hands to our side. We'll start bringing breath and movement together. Looking down at the toes, you can rock on the feet just to release the feet print from the mat. We'll go ahead and standing a little taller in our mount, just breathing in, feeling that energy lifting from the feet all the way through the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Exhaling, feeling the energy returning down through the body, through the feet, engaging the belly. Let's go ahead and inhale, start to roll the weight, shifting the weight at the soles of the feet towards the tip toes until you find yourself almost about to edge over. Then you can go ahead and use the next breath, slowly feeling the weight rolling towards the back of the heels. See if you can find that center of gravity shifting towards the heels. Then stop. Then you can use the next couple of breaths just to get that forward to back muscle memory at the foundation of our feet. And palms facing forward to help keep the chest nice and open. And then we'll meet back at center. Center of gravity feeling somewhere above the arches, near towards the heels. Inhale tall in our mountain, feel that lifting energy. And we can go ahead and roll the weight towards the outer edge of the right side of the feet. Let's go ahead and inhale back to center. And you can exhale over or just continue that inhale. So using a 2 or a 3-part breath, we're just trying to find that horizontal muscle memory now. Inhaling back up for me, exhaling to either side. And once you find you've got a good idea of how that feels, we'll return to the center, somewhere above the arches, more closer towards the heels. Inhaling tall once more, we start making small circles just at the ankles. Imagine your body as a nice, long wooden spoon. You're stirring the pot with a point of contact at the bottom of the pot. And as you find that perimeter of the feet, the edge, then you can go ahead and start tightening the circles, bringing yourself a little closer towards the center, dropping back into mountain, inhaling tall. We'll make small circles in the opposite direction. And these are small movements until you find that range of mobility, and then you can widen them, see what that edge is. Once that's identified, we'll go ahead and bring the circles in, and like water going down a drain, meet back at center. Let's go ahead and shake out any residual tension, activation of feet and fingers, rolling of the shoulders. We'll move on up. So just standing, again, feet distance, hips distance apart. We're going to pour some weight into the left standing leg, and I'm just going to turn around to give you an idea. We're trying to keep the shoulder in line horizontally as well as the hips and the feet. So as you shift that weight over, it's just a slight movement. And then as you find that long center of gravity on the left standing leg, you can go ahead and lift the right foot ever so slightly. Just see if you can lift the foot. And then you can start to bring the foot forward and back. If you tap on the mat, that's okay. We're still warming it up. We're trying to keep a nice long leg, moving the hands as we need to keep our balance. And then you can rest that right foot down. And then we can go ahead and returning back to mountain, pouring some weight into the right standing leg this time. Let's go ahead and see if we can feel that nice long stability from the right leg all the way through the crown of the head. And then you can lift with the next inhale, that left foot, hovering just a fraction of an inch above the mat. It's a balance. And then if you can start to move it forward and back, see if you can get that movement in just the left side, the left hip joint, and then resting that left foot down. You can go ahead and jiggle the legs, bending it just a little bit, and then turning around one more time. We're going to do hip rotations. So standing leg on the left side one more time. Let's breathe some center of gravity to that left standing leg, and we'll lift the right foot, bending the right knee and bringing it in towards the inner, and then rotating the knee outwards for an outer rotation of the right hip, letting the right foot land. Inhale one more time, and let's do this a couple of more times. Just inhaling in and going outward and allowing the foot to land gently. And then we'll reverse that direction. We'll go ahead and go from an outer to an inner direction of the hip rotation. And it's just little movements until you find that that space is available. About 3 to 4, and then we'll rest the right foot down. Go ahead and give yourself another little jiggle, little bend, bounce. Standing nice and tall in mountain once more, and then shifting the weight to the right standing leg. Lifting the left foot, bending the left knee. We'll go from inner to outer rotation of the left hip. And that's just directing the left knee towards the right midline and moving it over towards the outer edge of the left area. And then you can do that 3 to 4 times, then resting the foot. And once that's there, we can move on up to the top. I'm going to turn one more time. So we're keeping, again, that alignment with the shoulders. So as we're doing our shoulder rotations, you'll notice that the shoulders go up on the inhale and we rotate them back and down on the exhale. And that looks a little bit like this from the side. Let's go ahead, returning to our mountain, palms facing forward. Let's inhale nice and long inhale to help lift the shoulders up towards the ceiling, away from the ears. And then exhale, allow the shoulders to roll back and down to see if they can melt so that the arms are relaxed. Just a few more. Inhaling up, rotating back on the exhale, and completely exhaled, firming the belly at the bottom of the exhale. Just rotating, hopefully, in the shoulder area. Just get some lubrication and see how tight our shoulders may feel. And then we're going to repeat that, but this time, after we lift up the shoulders, let's roll them forward on the exhale, but still melt them down the back, the shoulder blades, as you exhale fully. We'll do that 3, 4 times. See if you can get that nice deep ujjayi breath to help you with the movements. Inhaling up, exhaling to roll forward, and then down. Let the angel's wings points of the shoulder blades tuck into the back. And then we'll be moving up to the next stretches. So nice and tall, getting ever taller, ever longer, stronger in our mountain. Palms facing forward. With that lift still going at the top of the head, we're just going to exhale, let the right ear dip towards the right side. If your left shoulder lifted, try to exhale to bring the shoulder back in line with the right shoulder. Inhaling, should find a nice lifting sensation. Exhaling, turning the gaze. And just allowing that gaze to rest where it lands. You can take the next couple of breaths, few breaths, just to see if you can release the left side of the neck by just simply breathing, exercising the exhales to help release. You might even find your eyes land on the rightmost of your periphery, of your vision, with that very last breath cycle. With the next inhale, let's go ahead and bring the eyes back into the gaze. The gaze turns, the head lifts completely by the time you're done inhaling. And then we can exhale to just dip the left ear towards the left side, keeping some space between the ear and the shoulder, about a nice orange size space. Inhaling, lifting the chest, exhaling, turning the gaze. And again, if you have stiff neck, your periphery, you may land your eyesight right about a 45-degree angle. Maybe it's at a 90-degree angle. Maybe it's a little past your left shoulder. But wherever it is, just moving the eyeballs within that gaze might help to release that much more in the neck. With the last exhale, let's go ahead and inhale the eyes back into the gaze turns, and we're inhaling completely by the time we lift up towards the ceiling, and then we can go ahead and relax. We're going to bring the eyesight just to about the midline now, And palms facing forward, inhaling tall. Let's go ahead and exhale. Allow the eyes to roll downward. Stop at about the top of your mat. Feel that nice long length to the back of the neck. Almost as if there's a slight diagonal tilt of that uplifting inhale. And on the exhale, just allowing the shoulders to relax, arms to be nice and soft at the sides of the body. Breathing in circulation, energy to the back of the neck. One last deep exhale, engaging the belly. And then we can inhale, slowly draw the eyes towards the midline, and past the midline, and rolling just the eyes until we can see somewhat above us. We'll stop craning the neck. We want to keep a relatively long neck. And inhaling, we're lifting the chest. We're still energizing upwards. You may be able to open the mouth with a small O, and then with each consecutive breath, maybe making it a little larger, maybe swaying the bottom of the jaw, just to release any hidden tension in the jawline. And then with an exhale, let's go ahead and bring the eyes and the gaze back to center. And we'll go ahead and shake out any residual tension, whatever feels good. And as we begin our sun salutation, we'll begin standing in mountain, just energizing, reaching the fingers towards the floor with the arms down to our side. Let's go ahead and inhale, elevate those arms, bringing the arms all the way back up, lifting up the torso at the top of the inhale. Let's start to hinge at the hips. And if the legs are tight, bending the knees if you need, but halfway down as we're hinging at the hips, we can bring our hands down and walk them down the thighs, down the shins. And if you just give yourself some breaths to allow the back to unwind, to unfold, you may find that in the next few breaths, you'll find an edge where your fingertips might be a little lower than where they initially landed. But just give yourself about 5 good deep breath cycles in our first forward fold. And what we're just basically doing is seeing if we're holding on to any tension in our head. Go ahead and nod your head no. Nod your head yes. Gently see if you can release any tension hanging on to that head. And as you breathe deeply, engaging the Ujjayi breath at the bottom of the exhale to help expel any last bit of air. And wherever your hands are, we're going to go ahead and start to slowly unwind. If your hands are at the feet, allow them to slowly lift. We're going to press into our feet, press into the mat to help engage the core. We're slowly unwinding here. We're going to unfurl the spine one vertebra at a time. Last thing to stack on top of the neck is the head, palms facing forward. Just allow the blood to rush back to the head with a breath or two. And then we'll do that one more time, but a little less time in our forward fold. Let's go ahead and energize the fingers, reaching down towards the mat. And inhale to elevate the arms above the head. Engaging the core, let's go ahead and hinge at the hips. Exhaling, slowly coming down. Halfway down, you can walk the hands down or just with control come all the way down. Once you're there, give yourself 3 good breath cycles here. Your hips might sway from side to side, moving the sacrum in that horizontal direction, just to release a little bit. Again, see if you're holding on to the head. Release that with a nice little dangling of the head like a plum weight. And then this time, as we inhale, we're going to come to whatever contact our hands have to just slowly lengthen through the back, from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head. We're just doing our half lift here with an energy from the hips all the way down to the heels as our stable center of gravity, but at the same time from the tailbone down the back, down the neck, down to the crown of the head as we're looking at the mat, feeling nice and long in the back, neck. And then exhale, allow the elbows to bend wherever your hands may be. It'll help to bring you back to your fold. Fully exhaled here. Let's inhale. engage the core, press into the feet, extend the arms, and you can walk the hands up or you can inhale strong, coming all the way back up. Exhaling, hands down, heart center. Relax shoulders, relax the elbows at the rib cage. Let's inhale, pressing into the palms, lifting the right foot, and then exhale the right heel, ball of foot, and toes down. Inhale, lift the left foot up. Exhale the heel, ball of foot, and toes down. It's a slow walking meditation to the top of the mat. One breath, one full step of each foot. If you feel a little wobbly, that's okay. Press into the hands. It'll help to reestablish, hopefully, the stability as you're walking slowly to the top of the mat. And at the top, we'll go ahead and look at our fingertips for an exercise in focus. Pressing into the palms, inhaling, fingertips rise. At the top, let's go ahead and separate the hands. Exhale, hinge at the hips for a forward fold. Fully exhaled here. Let's inhale for a half lift. We're just lengthening through our legs as is available and through the back. Nice half lift. And then let's exhale back to the fold. We're going to bring our hands down to either side of the feet and step one leg back and then the left leg. In here, let's inhale our shoulders over our wrists, pressing into those arms, making sure you're nice and long and extending the arms, pressing to keep the shoulder blades protracted away from the spine. Let's go ahead and bring the knees down, untuck the toes, and feel as if the tops of the feet and the shins are supporting some of your weight. So you can feel that lengthening from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head. One more deep inhale, engage the core. Let's tuck the toes, lift up the hips, pressing back into our down dog. And your heels do not have to touch the mat. It may be a while before that happens. You might be there already. But whatever your situation is, you can exercise that flexibility. You can encourage the release in the calves, the Achilles heels, by just simply bending one knee and then the other, cycling through your down dog. And then take the next inhale. Go ahead and come up to the tippy toes, lifting up the hips, and really carving out the abdomen. Try to engage that core, pressing all the way downward to your ability with the heels. And again, the heels don't have to meet the mat. But now, as we're moving in from our down dog, we'll be coming back to our fold by simply rolling our eyes to our hands, inhaling deeply, and then exhale. Walk the hands, bend the knees if you need. Come on back to your fold. And if you stepped a little further into the middle of the mat, step on back. Fully exhaled into our fold. Let's inhale for a half lift. And then let's exhale back to the fold. And then inhale, extend those arms, engage the core, come on up. Either walk the hands or come up with a strong inhale. Exhaling, hands down, heart center, relax shoulders, relax the elbows. Inhale, press into the hands, standing weight into the left leg, lifting the right foot. Exhaling that right heel, ball of foot and toes down. Inhaling left foot. Exhaling the heel, ball of foot and toes down. You know where we're going, top of the mat. And if you get wobbly, pressing into the palms to help retain your stability or regain it. At the top of the mat, we'll go ahead and look at the fingertips. Inhaling, press into the palms, watch the fingertips rise. Exhale, open the hands, hinging at the hips, fully exhaled at the bottom of the fold. Inhale, let's lift for a half lift. Exhale back to the fold. Plant the hands at either side of the feet. Step the right leg, left leg, long. Inhaling shoulders over the plank. Let's keep our legs nice and long. Engage the core, pressing into the hands, feeling the energy from the heels all the way up the hypotenuse through the crown of the head. And then we're going to inhale, lift the hips up and press into the shoulders, into the hands, and lower the heels down for your down dog. It'll be a little shorter down dog this time. Go ahead and cycle out the legs, swivel through the hips if it feels good. And then making sure your ears are somewhere in between your shoulders. We're going to also make sure our shoulders are rotated away from the ears. Just simply bringing the crooks of the elbows to face the front while the points of the elbows point and fold towards the back. That's a good indication. And then we'll inhale, look to the hands, carve out the belly, and let's exhale back to our fold. Bending the knees if you need, stepping back to meet at the back of the mat. Let's inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, extend the arms. Come on up, your choice. Exhaling, hands down, heart center, and finally down to the side. You might feel your heart beating a little faster, and hopefully a very deep sense of the breath. And then we'll go ahead and turn to the side. We'll be moving into our standing poses, and we'll begin with tree. So if you have difficulty with balance, this is a great way of cultivating bone density as well as balance. So here in tree, you have two options to keep the feet hips distance apart, which is easier, or feet together. But you can determine which feels better for you. I'm going to start with the hips distance apart feet. Just feeling nice and tall. Feel that energy lifting from the soles of the feet all the way through the spine, through the crown of the head, like a string pulling up from the crown of the head. Hopefully, with a gentle tuck of the chin, you'll find that the ear is over the shoulders, which should be over the hips and over the ankles. That's all that we're doing, is trying to move into that nice tall alignment. So in mountain, we'll go ahead and lifting up nice and tall through the crown of the head. Go ahead and pour some weight into that left standing leg without jutting out your left hip. We're going to go ahead and inhale once to lift the right heel. Exhale to externally rotate the right hip. Now give yourself a couple of breaths to see where you stand here. If you're feeling good with the openness of the right hip, you can go ahead and bring that right heel to land somewhere on the left ankle. Feeling that tripod there. What we're really trying to establish is the openness in the right hip. So eventually, as your hip opens up, we'll have this nice sort of 90-degree angle, more of this, same plane alignment of the hips and the knees. But for some of us, our knee might be more at this angle at the corner, and that's okay. We're just working towards opening up the right hip and the other side when we go there. So once this is established, you can go ahead and bring your hands to heart center, and that'll help to regain your stability. So if you're feeling good here, just breathe. Gentle tuck of the chin, feeling again that energy, drawing from the mat, through the legs, through the spine, all the way up through the crown of the head to hopefully give you that energizing feeling of being lifted. Just a couple more breaths here. See if you can have a soft gaze, not really directly focused anywhere. And again, a brief, gentle engagement, the core. And when you're done, we'll go ahead and exhale from the hands first. We'll go ahead and release the hands, internally rotate the hip, and then allow our right foot to land. Now the left leg has been standing and very active, so if you kick out some of that residual energy, do it from the front to the side and then over the midline. That'll just help, just in case it's super tight in the glutes, wherever those muscles that have been supporting you. And then we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. So again, standing hips distance apart are our feet, nice and tall in mountain, ever taller, ever stronger. Pouring some weight into the right standing leg. Inhaling the left heel up, externally rotating the left hip. And then seeing where we can bring the left heel to land on the right ankle. Now if you have a higher place on the trunk, so to speak, if you like your foot resting on the calf or the thigh, feel free. But with our first round, we'll go ahead and bring our hands to heart center. And once you've found your sense of tree, you just breathe deeply, gentle tuck of the chin, engaging the core to help keep the stability, and just breathing, just a few more breath cycles, inhaling deeply, Exhaling, engaging the core, helping to expel the last of the air. And with our very last exhale, go ahead and release the hands, internally rotating the left hip, allowing the left foot to land. And again, your right standing leg now might have that activated muscle group still there, so just kick out the front to the side before you cross the midline. You can bounce, you can jiggle, and we'll release that for our second round of tree. Now in this version, you can go higher on the tree trunk, and you can also just branch out your arms as well. So standing in mountain, we'll go ahead and inhale some standing weight into the right standing leg this time. Let's go ahead and lift the left heel, sternly rotate that left hip, bringing it up to wherever you'd like, whether it's the calf or the inner thigh. And you may have to do some funny arm movements to help with your balance. That's okay too. And once you're there, you're just finding, hopefully, the very last part in the hands, whether at heart center or whether you grow out your branches. And again, pressing into the palms will help to keep you stable and upright. And if you fall out, that's okay. Not the first time, won't be the last. And your final exhale, hopefully to grow out the branches. Giving yourself 2 to 3 breaths at your edge. Pinkies on the inside. And if you fall out like I just did, go ahead and come on back to where you're comfortable. When you're ready to come out, start with the hands. Inhaling, hands come together. Exhaling them down. Releasing the foot slightly so you can internally rotate that left hip and let the left foot down gently. And again, releasing any residual tension in that standing leg. Counter stretching is key to releasing the muscles we've just engaged so we don't keep activating it and have contraction that might lead to a pulled muscle. We'll go ahead and stand, return back to our mountain for our very last side. And this time pouring weight into our left standing leg. Inhaling to lift the right heel and find your sense of tree, wherever it may be on the trunk, that your right foot is landing. Just see how your body is feeling today. I'm feeling pretty good here. And the last thing being in the hands. And again, if you engage the muscles, if you engage that glute and the core to help stabilize, pressing into the palms, growing the branches as you need, and breathing deeply. 2 to 3 breaths once you've found that edge of your tree. Letting the hands go, and then the feet. Externally rotated hip coming in to land that right foot. And then you can release the left foot. Front to the side, and then over the midline. Okay, and then we can work our way down towards the mat. Now if you like to come down onto all fours with your hands and feet, you can squat, you can kneel, but however you get here, if you like having a mat underneath knees that are a little achy, that will help you to stay comfortable. I like to have a folded blanket that kind of supports the heels of the palms with the fingertips splayed out, and then the knees, hips distance apart, right underneath the hips. Tops of the feet, sort of the tops of the feet as well as the shins, giving me a little bit of support. We want to have a neutral back, not saggy and not hunched. We're not doing anything with the back, but just keeping it nice and neutral. And then as we come here, we'll be alternately lifting the right hand, left knee at the same time, but we'll start by just hovering it. So as we begin, slightly engage the core, and then inhale, lift the right hand and the left knee if that feels good. And you should feel that you're pressing into not just the left arm, but also that left that right shin all the way down to the top of the foot. And then exhale, allow those to return to the mat. Inhaling nice and long. Let's go ahead, exhale, and lift the left hand and right foot, or excuse me, right knee. And you're just hovering it there, just slightly engaging the core, using the right hand, left foot to sort of counter any balance issues. And then we can let those land with the exhale. Now with the next round, we're going to lift the arms, and if it feels good to you, you can straighten them out. You can straighten the leg back behind you as well as the arm. So with the next inhale, let's engage the core, slowly lifting the left knee and the right hand and lengthening as is available for you. You can feel the fingertips are together, they're not splayed, and it's just like one nice long energy from the right shoulder to the fingertips. And doing the best with the left leg as well. Pointing the toes, and then exhale, bring the right hand and the left knee shin back to the floor. Give yourself a breath or two here. And then we'll prepare for this next side. Let's go ahead and inhale, lift the left hand, right knee, and start to lengthen as is available to you. Engaging the points of the arms from the fingers, tips all the way through to the shoulder. Nice and long energy. Pointing the toes, and then exhale, allow the left hand, right knee to come back. We'll go ahead, and at this point, if you have a block near you, and you know your hips have a little space, it's a little difficult to get to the heels, go ahead and bring the block to rest on the heels so you can help get yourself into a child's pose. So you can widen the knee stance. If you're able to just bring the hips to the heels, that's what we're focusing on, but do what's available for you. Once that's feeling good, you're able to stabilize the foundation, we'll go ahead and start by bringing the chest towards the mat. Now you might just land on the forearms and you're good here. You might be up a little higher, just depends on where you are. But breathe once you find that edge. For some of us, maybe laying on the block to help support the belly might help us to get there. But this is one of our lengthier poses, a restorative pose that if you can just use the next 5 to 10 breath cycles, you should be able to find release of activated muscles you may not have even known you were holding on to. So as your chest gets closer, maybe it just rests on the thighs. Maybe your belly is able to reach the mat. As you get closer and closer, you're just giving your body the space, moving the elbows out of the way, maybe just resting the forehead, brow line on the backs of the hand. Maybe it's the block. Wherever you are, once you found that edge, give yourself 5 really good deep breath cycles. The inhales, drawing energy, hopefully finding that idea that it's traveling through the body. That brief pause before you exhale, slow with control, even in this folded pose. It has the benefit of hopefully giving the internal organs a little bit of a massage. So try to breathe as deeply as you can. Encourage the rib cage to expand sideways even. And if you find yourself all the way down to the floor, you can always extend the arms, palm side up, and use the very last breath cycle to just release. Once you've gotten there, let's go ahead and inhale, bring the palms back onto the mat, start lifting the torso by walking the hands back under the shoulders, and then we'll come all the way upright. Walking the hands all the way upright, bringing the knees together. Let's go ahead and pull forward, walking the hands in front so you can tuck your toes under. We'll give ourselves a nice stretch here. And again, you may need the block to help you. Now we're focused on stretching through the feet, through the arches, the Achilles heels. It's a great deal of stretching in this toe tuck of hero. So if this is not something you're used to, you're welcome to come out as soon as you need to. You can always untuck the toes. If it's something that feels good to you and you want to deepen it, you can always walk the hands. Eventually, in an upright position, again, shoulders should be above the hips, ears above the shoulders. Nice tall spine, gentle tuck of the chin, and breathing 5 good deep breath cycles here. And of course, if you need to release, you are still, hopefully, in this hero pose, breathing deeply. And once you reach that very last breath cycle, we'll go ahead and take the hands, walk them out in front, untuck the toes. You can tap them out. You can just let your toes bend in the opposite position. Don't bear any weight on it. It's just nice to have that happen, especially after a lengthy toe tuck. And then we'll go ahead and walk our hands forward and start coming on to the belly. And give yourself a little bit of time here, a couple of breaths, just to feel supported. It always feels so nice, especially when we flexed our hips and been in a seated position at the hips. It feels nice to have the hips flexors extended in a less habitual way. And sometimes you just get to savor that. So let's go ahead and bring our hands down to the sides. And then with a turn of the head, I'm going to turn to the left, but just turn your cheek. Allow the cheek to rest on the mat. Palms are facing up. Hands at our side, nice and relaxed. See if your shoulders are lifted. See if you can deeply breathe to relax them. See if that helps to melt into the mat. And then we're going to inhale, pressing into the chest to slightly lift the head so you can turn the gaze to the other side. And allow the opposite cheek to rest on the mat. We can bend our knees, flex the feet slightly, and then let them relax. And you can windshield wipe them. It's not going to be a big movement. Just allow the feet to windshield wipe from one side to the other. It's like you're rolling from the sides of your thighs. And then we'll let that lay the feet back down afterwards. And then let's go ahead and inhale once more, pressing into the chest. We're going to bring the face to hover right above the mat. Inch the fingers up towards the top of the mat so you can bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. We'll move into our Sphinx. And here, hopefully you're not feeling a compression at the lower back. So we want to feel as if we're really long from the hips all the way down to the toes. You can come up to the tiptoes here, kind of walk your legs away from the pelvic area. Just very slight, but it'll help to feel hopefully a little longer. And then you can rest the feet, tops of the feet on the mat, and then relax everything if you can from the glutes all the way down to the feet. Just let them be an anchor weight. Next thing we'll do is just simply bringing the elbows to rest underneath the shoulders. Use the entire forearm, palm, all the way to the fingertips as one unit, just pressing down. And as you're pressing down at the very bottom, we're going to pull. It's almost as if we're pulling the torso forward. And slightly at the top of the inhale, we'll be lifting the shoulders just slightly, retracting those shoulder blades in towards the spine at the very bottom of the triangular tips, while the tops of the shoulder blades kind of widen. So you'll be feeling like the shoulders moving away from each other at the top, while at the bottom of the shoulder blades moving toward each other, retracting more towards the mid-back. So again, we can reset this by simply pressing gently down on the point of contact from the elbows to the fingertips, pressing down, then pulling forward. And at the top of that inhale, we can just barely bring the gaze to rest right about the fingertips. Nice long neck. And then as you breathe for the next 3 to 5 breath cycles, see if you make them nice and long. such that each breath in helps to expand the chest sideways. The skin may even lift off of the mat. And then as you slowly exhale, releasing the belly softly back towards the mat. And see if your palms are tented. You can just relax them. And after your very last breath cycle, simply allow the chest to start moving towards the mat by releasing the elbows outward and pillowing the backs of the hands underneath the brow line. Just let yourself rest. And from here, we'll go ahead and lift one arm. You can just roll onto your side. If you have a different way you'd like to get onto your back, feel free. But for me, sometimes when I'm on my belly, it's just simply a matter of extending an arm and then rolling onto my back. And then, if I can get the speaker out of my back, we'll go ahead and just shimmy slowly. Shoulders a little bit to one side and then a little bit with the hips until you're back onto the mat. And slow, small movements. Okay. And then now that we're on our back, you can relax, see if you can get nice and long, make sure any folded skin is released, and then extending the arms to the side and bending the knees. We'll go ahead and return to a base bridge position. So the heels may not be too far from the bottom. If you can reach down and sort of brush the fingertips against the heels, that's a good spot. And the heels are about hips distance apart. Knees are pointed towards the ceiling. And again, make sure that your spine is in alignment with the neck, the crown of the head, a gentle tuck of the chin to help bring the neck a little closer to the floor. And then just relax there. Palms are going to be down a few inches away from the hips, arms extended in an upside down V. We're going to go ahead and inhale, extend through the right leg. Now for some of us, we might have a really bent knee. Our backs of the legs might be super tight, so give yourself some time. What we're hopefully looking for is eventually bringing the right leg, the leg into a 90-degree angle. And sometimes it just takes a while. So you might have your toes pointed. You may need to flex and then point the toes a little bit to just start releasing through the back of the leg. And then also notice if your right knee is pointed, is externally rotated. What we're looking for is a regular, just almost like mountain orientation of the hips. So that's just something else to consider. See if the rotation, if you need to engage the inner thigh to help bring it back into alignment. And then just release. The next thing we'll do is go ahead and exhale the left knee down. Just make it nice and long. And if the left calf is lifted, again, because of tight muscles in the back of the leg and the hips, just give yourself some time. Point the toe, flex the foot, and then relax. It's just where it is. Hopefully the left knee and toe will be oriented towards the ceiling. And then, if you have a strap, that's handy to help bring your strap around the foot or the thigh. My strap's not there. But if you don't have a strap, you can always use your hand on the thigh. All we're going to do is extend this right arm, and we're just trying to help roll onto our left side. So if you have your strap, you might have it at the ball of your foot, you might have it here to help you roll over as you're rolling over. Or you could just have your hand to help you. But this right arm being out behind you can help you until you reach that side on the left. Now, if your shoulder lifts, if your right shoulder lifts, that's okay. We're more concerned about feeling that openness in the lower back with this spinal twist. So you might need to have gravity help you land that right foot on the left side. Or it might be that you need a block, maybe the edge of a couch, something to land that foot onto. So for some of us, if it's just the gravity, just allow yourself the space to release. And it takes about 3 to 5 breaths as you're moving it from one transition to another to kind of see if your body is ready. Sometimes it's just that little bit of space that it needs to find out that it's safe, and then it will release just a little bit more. You might find that this is where you are. If that is your edge, then go ahead and start orienting the hands. You can have the palms down. You can alternate having the right hand palm up, left palm down. But again, see how that feels in your shoulders. If you have very tight shoulders, this might be a nice stretch, or it might be good to just let the palms rest on the floor. So see how that feels for you. We just want to get to that space where your arms are extended. They don't have to be at a 90-degree angle to the body. They could be a little lower if that's easier. But just get to this point where you're eventually discovering your edge. And once you find it, then you can release. The very last thing is just turning towards the right, the gaze, and then releasing through the breath. 5 good deep breath cycles. Inhaling. Pause before you exhale. And really see if you can just release any activated muscles. Sometimes just softening the gaze is what's needed. So as you approach your very last breath, about coming back to center on an inhale. Bring the head back, and then using the hands or the strap, secure the thigh or the ball of the foot with the strap, and inhale, roll back onto the mat. And once you're back, allow the right foot to land, keeping the knee bent. And we can bend the left knee as well. Feet are about hips distance apart, arms are out to the side, palms down, inverted V, and we'll let the knees drop to the right. They're just going to land where they will, and you're rolling onto the outer right side of your feet, just like we did when we were doing our joint warm-ups in the beginning, just feeling that edge on the sides of the feet. And once you're there, give yourself 2 more deep breaths. You may feel the deep muscles, tendons, fascia all along the hip flexors of the left hip, releasing on this side of the windshield wipe. You may find that any tension you were holding in the right ankle just releases. And then after your last exhale, let's go ahead and inhale the knees back up. If you need to help the knees come up, use your hands. And then make sure you're nice and stable back on the mat. If you have any folded skin, straighten it out, and then we'll go ahead and move to the other side. Right leg was up last time, so now we're going to bring the left leg up. So making sure again that we're in this base bridge position, arms out to the side. Let's go ahead and inhale, left foot up. Have your strap here if you need it. Put it against your ball of foot or around the thigh to help bring the left leg into your best version of a 90-degree angle. And again, if you're still working on straightening out, focus there before you move to the next step. So it might be here, and eventually you'll be able to flex the foot and release and have that nice 90-degree angle of the left leg in relationship to the body. Once you've situated the left leg, then we can go ahead and exhale the right leg down, nice and long. You can inch the feet down, and then give yourself a couple of breaths. Sometimes it just takes that long. You can flex the right foot, point the toes, and then just let the right leg relax. Hopefully that'll help to bring the right calf to rest on the mat. If not, it is what it is. So let's come here to the left leg now and prepare to roll to the other side. If you have the strap or just the hand on the thigh, inhale nice and tall, long, and then exhale, guide the left leg over towards the right. And if you have that block, can guesstimate where it might land and help to rest the leg. Now notice what's going on in your right leg. If that's started to activate so that you can you could support this movement of the weight, see if you can relax that leg after. And it's okay, it doesn't have to be completely aligned straight. You might be off towards the side. And eventually, as your lower back releases, as you find those tight intercostal rib muscles, maybe just releasing a little bit, you might find more of a roll towards the right side of our spinal twist. And again, it just depends on how open our body is or how tight. Give yourself some time to find that spot. Once you've found the twist in the lower body, then we can focus on the arms, orientation of the palms, seeing how that feels through the shoulders. And if the left shoulder is lifted, that's okay. Just give yourself some time to relax. Eventually, it may finally meet the mat, but it doesn't have to. The very last thing would be just turning the head gently, if that feels good, to the neck, to get an ultimate spinal twist. And then just release. And for the next 5 deep breath cycles, breathing deeply, seeing if you can hear the ocean at the back of the throat. And releasing any tension, activation of muscles not needed. You may find that the ankle relaxes, the knee relaxes. You might have some belly bubbles coming up. And after your very last breath cycle, on an inhale, bring the gaze back to center and use your hands if needed to help guide the leg back up and the body onto the mat. Allow the left foot to land, bend the right knee, bringing the right foot back to the base position, arms out to the side, palms down, and just let the knees roll to the left. Rolling the weight to the outer edges of the left side of the soles of the feet. In a good 3 deep breath cycles here, you might find the deep muscles within the right side of your pelvis releasing. Maybe even the toes relaxing, the left ankle, left knee, left glute. Any activation, hidden activation, may just suddenly melt away with the last exhale. And when you're ready to come out, we'll inhale. Use your hands if you need that extra help to help bring the knees back to center. And then we'll extend the legs and any last minute movement that feels good before we enter Shavasana. You might have an overhead stretch. You can interlace the fingers, palms out, knuckles out, in. You can flex the feet, point the toes, wiggle the fingers and toes, whatever feels good. Sometimes I like to touch the elbows above my chest to just make sure I don't have folded skin between my shoulder blades. Once you get there, just soften the belly. I'm going to sit up just to mind the time. But in Shavasana, we're just softening the body, allowing us to rest and respond to today's practice. So if you find, as you're laying down, you can close your eyes if that feels good to you. And just focus on the breath. Any thoughts that come up? That's okay. Acknowledge them and then let them go with the exhale. See if you can relax the center of the brow. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. And palms facing up, gently at the sides of the body. And for the next few minutes, enjoying a final relaxation before you hear the 3 bells. Bringing the mind back to the body. Take note of sounds outside the room, sounds within the room, and finally back to your breath. As you inhale, notice the temperature of the air, perhaps a little warmer as you exhale through the nose. And as the belly rises and falls with each breath, I invite you to make any movement that feels good to you. You can wiggle the toes, fingers. You can rock from side to side. You can hug your knees in, and avoiding the center spine, use a momentum from side to side and then forward to back. And you can use that momentum to come all the way back up to an easy seated position, upright, or you can roll to your favorite side in a fetal position, using the forearm and the hand to help push the body back upright. But we'll meet in an upright position, and if it feels good to have one leg out in front of the other, or just to have both legs long in front of you, like in a staff position, feel free. We just want to feel that we're evenly supported by each sits bone. We have that pelvic bowl sort of tilted forward at the top, just enough to bring this chest to lead us forward, gentle tuck of the chin, and hopefully you'll feel as if your spine is being supported, cradled in the pelvic bowl. Our last thing for the class is just a breathing exercise to help us feel re-energized after that brief rest and to help bring balance to both sides of our body. So bringing the left hand into Chin Mudra, just touch the index finger to the thumb, let the back of the hand rest on the left thigh. Right hand goes into our Vishnu Mudra. It's just basically a hand position of the middle and index fingers resting on the mount of the thumb. We're going to close our right nostril with our right thumb, left nostril with the right ring fingertip. But if this feels awkward, you can always just bring the index and middle fingers to rest on the brow and use the thumb and ring finger knuckle to close the nostrils respectively. We'll go ahead and breathe in, nice and tall, through the crown of the head. Closing the right nostril, let's exhale through the left. Inhale through the left nostril. Close, exhale through the right. Be sure to engage the core as you fully exhale at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale through the right. Close, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Last round. Close, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Go ahead and release the right hand, release the mudras. Just let the breath return to its natural state. Bringing hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining us here at the ACC Community Room for Gentle Yoga at 1 p.m. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer anything for the next few minutes, but thank you. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you, Jeani.
Thank you. Is that you, Gabby?
Yeah.
Hi, I was hoping to see you. Good to see you. Hello, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.
I do have a question.
Oh, sure. Yes, yes.
On the first balance pose,
Yes.
when we rotate the leg, the hip out,
Mm-hmm.
and you bring your heel to the opposite ankle,
Yes.
does the toe touch the mat still, or should it be off the ground?
Oh, we're keeping the ball of foot to the toes in contact with the mat. So essentially all we're doing, let me see if I can stand and give a better demonstration here. So all you're doing is we're just making sure that once this the standing leg is stabilized, we're going to lift the heel. So you can notice that we're on the ball of the foot as well as the toes are in contact. And then we externally rotate the hip before drawing the foot towards the left foot. And you'll notice that it's the ball of foot and toes sort of like at that anchor. And it's the right heel that's resting a little bit above my left ankle. It might be on your ankle, but the point of contact is the ball of foot and the toes of the hip leg that's rotated outward.
Yes.
Do you see that? Are you able to see that? Okay.
Yes, I am.
So when you come in, this is your starting pose. If this feels good to you and you've got a strong tree, then what you can do is start to deepen this by bringing either the leg up the trunk, so to speak, avoiding the knee, or you can branch out the arms. These are all like little flourishes you can bring on top of the tree pose to, just further that experience. But the base of just being here is your full tree. And then you just want to focus on, once you've found the stability here, if you bring your hands to heart center and rest here, you're just focusing on relaxing the shoulders, keeping the upper body nice and loose. You're only using those muscles you need. So here is a good time to engage the core. It helps to stabilize. And just gently pressing into the palms. But you might sway like a willow in the winds. But this is essentially where you're feeling that good energy of support and just, rock solid foundation. And then when you come out, I'm always trying to internally rotate before I come out. It just is a nice way to unwind going backwards. Do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Betty is asking, can these exercises be done in bed or in sitting position?
I have done it in bed, but I got to tell you, when you're laying down, you're really going to be opening up that hip. So be very careful, especially if you have kind of loose hip joints. And as we are aging, sometimes even that millimeter might find a little bit of a strain and a pull. So you got to be very careful when you're on your back, because you're at most very open, especially when you wake up for the first time in the morning. If you want to have something stabilizing your back, and that would be the reason for being on your back, try doing it up against a wall. So oftentimes, if I've had students where the stability is really questionable, you might be on like a chair situation, might be right to the side of you where you would have the handle or the back of the chair to kind of touch as you're moving into your tree. But if you just had a wall in the back of you, then you might slide to the sides like that, but it might help you if you find yourself falling back. So sometimes having a wall or having a chair arm or a yoga chair back, on the sides will help you if that is the objective to having the back on a bed or on the floor. But you can definitely do tree there. If you do it here, again, I'm going to demonstrate when you come here on the back and you're say, not just having woken up first thing in the morning, because our body tends to be very stiff. So you would probably end up doing a tree like with your knee high up here. See, there's probably like a 45-degree angle between my knee and the floor. But if you're really nice and open, your right knee thigh might just be resting on the floor. I've had students where they're just very open in the hips, and they're like a butterfly with their wings completely resting on the floor. So here, it's especially if you're on your back, important to help support the thigh back up so that the knee coming back up to this position towards the ceiling is not straining your hip. That is already super tight, right? So that would be the only caution I would tell you if you are on your back. Did that help? Then? Okay. Any other questions? Oh, I think, is there, I don't know, somebody's audio is off, but, okay. If there are no other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback. It's
super clear in all directions, and I appreciate. Okay, I just said that I really appreciate it. Super clear directions.
okay. Oh, thank you. I'm trying not to be so wordy, but sometimes, especially if you're new, I like to know where I'm going. So, okay, good. I'm glad.